ripping Vice President Pence. All American companies do business with China in America. Nike, Apple, Planned Parenthood, the Garbage Pail, Dumpster Edition. This is Hillary Hammer Time Cankles getting heckled at Elijah Cummings' funeral. First, Hillary states, the prophet Elijah stood up against the corrupt leadership of King Ahab and Queen Jezebel. Heckler responds, you lost to Trump after getting the debate questions in advance. Lie detectors avoid you like the plague. Or self-awareness. This is fake news freaking out over the criminal probe into the fake news Russian collusion bullshit spying campaign on Team Trump. Nobody will be prosecuted. The military will remain loyal to Obama for neutering the military and doing dick for the VA. This is Hillary getting heckled at Elijah Cummings' funeral again. Again, Hillary quoting the Bible. The prophet Elijah stood up against the corrupt leadership of King Ahab and Queen Jezebel. Heckler responds, your private server to enrich your wine cellar got American spies killed in China, Mother Teresa. It's a conversation I had with my wife this week. Wife says, the kids like the 13-grain bread if you cut the crust off. Do it all dad, that being me, replies, I got 13 reasons why your premise is fake news bullshit, but I don't want to ruin my Friday night after completing my short film screenplay, horsing around with Hinduism that's bound for glory. Originally, I was going to make it a play. Now I like the idea of submitting it to film contest as a short film script. Again, this is Hillary getting heckled at Elijah Cummings' funeral. A lot of people had a hard time keeping their mouth shut. Glad I'm not the only one. Again, Hillary with that. The prophet Elijah stood up against the corrupt leadership of King Ahab and Queen Jezebel. Heckler number 3 retorts, now you're a true believer. I thought Bill Maher was Chelsea's godfather. Real time will ban you, bitch. I made a baked ziti this week and used cottage cheese, and that was a major regret. So that inspired this piece over here. Cottage cheese is procrastinated hell. Cottage cheese circumcises your happiness. Cottage cheese thighs never lie. Cottage cheese is for fatties who diet more than the Nutty Professor. Cottage cheese is blue balls for beer bellies. Bruce Springsteen. I've always loved me some Bruce. It pains me to see him come across as like this globalist control puppet. I mean, I hate the sound so Republican conservative general, but he just constantly speaking nonsense, and I think he's a brilliant songwriter. I love Bruce Springsteen. Back in the day, to my daughter, Bruce Springsteen is the only guy that you could ever call the boss with unquestioned authority. But here we go. And after I got my TV writing break for VH1 Classic for America's Hot 100, I made my boss, who's originally from New Jersey, I made him a Bruce Springsteen mix, and I gave it to him, and I said, this doesn't mean that I have a crush on you, boss. Favorite Bruce albums? Tunnel Love's really grown on me. That's, outside the E Street Band. Obviously Born to Run is a classic. It's really hard to beat. And the Tom Joad version that he does with Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine is really amazing. Talk about advancing, the rock and roll art form, incorporating the hip hop into it, and Tom Morello made the guitar shaft. It sounded like he was spinning a record. You have to check out that performance for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony. I get chills on my spine just thinking about it. Tom Morello was actually going to be the host for America's Hot 100, but then my producer Jay Moran decided to go in the direction of Chris Jericho. And I have to agree, because I love me some Tommy Morello, but it's not really like flush with like personality compared to Chris. I mean, like, is he a tad more engaging than the guy from Tribe Called Quest? Sure. Ben Harper would have been a tad too mellow. I love me some Ben Harper. Diamonds on the inside. I'm not trying to prove my musical diversity cred, in case you're wondering. But here, we're back to Bruce. So Bruce Springsteen claims Trump's candidacy was a tragedy for democracy. It caused distress because you backed Hillary, the two-time loser that she is. But let's not pretend we're the Shakespeare of swamp music. Bruce, Lynyrd Skynyrd is more American badass than the E Street Band will ever be. Swamp, swamp, swamp music. Swamp, swamp, swamp music. I remember hearing once about Mark Maron when he was talking about getting into like Captain Beefheart, and like it was like a Netflix stand-up comedy special. He talked about like trying to get into Lynyrd Skynyrd, but him being like a Jersey East Coast Jew, like he was just never able to become at one with the music. Not his exact phrasing, but I got a kick out of that. So Biden, Joe Biden, presidential nominee Joe Biden says he wouldn't let his crackhead son work in the White House because he's lower energy than Jeb, blow and crack. Hunter Biden makes my younger brother look like an underachiever. This is me at DeChico and Sons at the bar area. This is my son grabbing lunch. Hadn't earned my beer yet. And so I was there, and I said, let's do it all that. I said, was Industrial Arts Brewery, was that founded by the dude who founded Ithaca Brewery? And the bartender says, yes. And I respond, I feel like such elitist white trash for even posing such a she bitch informed question. But I did attend Ithaca College, otherwise known as Cornell's retarded next door neighbor. But I could smoke some very strong indoor. I was in the school of communication, so I could smoke some very strong indoor and not manage to stutter every other 2 seconds. Remember when Linda Sarsour endorsed Chelsea Manning for Senate? Pretty sure Chelsea Manning was running under the Genital Mutilation Party. Linda Sarsour supports it if Sharia law is cited in the footnotes. Again, this is Bruce Springsteen on Trump. Trump doesn't grasp what being American means. Agreed. Bruce, he never sold a soul to China for personal gain because Chinese-made fentanyl has killed more crackers than Taylor Swift kicking it with Lena Dunham. Lena Dunham was Hillary's social media campaign manager. Only Lena Dunham can make Hillary less likable and less relatable in one blubbery swoop. One time I did that joke in addition to another Lena one, made my brother's fiance, now wife, laugh. He got very jealous. Says, you never laugh at my stuff. Well, hey, you haven't been working on being a professional funny man for 2 decades. Lazy brain. So, and you weren't blessed with the funny Jubon, so get over it. They say Tom Petty and Prince died of fentanyl, actually. So, this is what happens last week. Fire alarm goes off. I yell from upstairs. It's a good thing I haven't started my podcast yet. Our fire alarm is so sensitive, it goes off like a resistor twat on Twitter every time Ann Coulter announces a new blog post is up. So this is my impersonation if I was a stand-up comedian in a comedy club room that Harvey Weinstein had attended in New York City this past week. Pretty sure it's the Lower East Side. So this is me if I was a comic and actually got stage time and was part of a community and had agents and didn't have to start considering applying for recruiter jobs out of fear of my wife divorcing me and never seeing my children again. So here we go. If I was a working comic in New York City who's pro-Trumpian. Here we go. It's me addressing Harvey. It's like me heckling Harvey from the stage. Your wife finally left you, right, Harvey, to focus on her lifetime battle with amnesia? If Ronan Farrow is Frank Sinatra's son, then why hasn't he knocked you on your ass yet? Although, I will give you this, Harvey. I wouldn't categorize Ashley Judd as a real victim of rape. So she refused to watch you wash yourself down at your 5-star suite in the Four Seasons. At the same time, growing up in Kentucky, I know she's got plenty of experience judging fat pigs at the county fair. So 500 musicians, not 13, 500, threatened to boycott Amazon over ICE contracts. Because Homeland Security was so weapons of mass destruction years. But the reason, the 500 musicians are threatening to boycott Amazon over ICE contracts. Because the fact that they employ facial recognition technology. Because racial profiling ensured New York City regressed into a shithole from the 80s, inspiring Bill Hicks to do a bit on the bum hurdle. 500 musicians threatened to boycott Amazon over ICE contracts because they employ facial recognition technology, which encourages racist-fueled racial profiling. Rage Against New York City become a pedestrian pushing into subways paradise with no repercussions whatsoever. Except de Blasio deciding to open up 5 new prison cells in all of our boroughs, and so they could replicate like condos in the Lower East Side that Ronan Farrow was able to buy for himself after winning a Pulitzer and exposing the power-hungry rapist that Harvey was, in addition to his enablers at the New York Times and NBC. WNBC! It kills me that Howard is weird weak. Compared to the Howard of yesteryear. So, again, 500 musicians are threatening to boycott. I'm assuming Bruce is on the list. 500 musicians are threatening to boycott Amazon over ICE contracts. Because cloud technology powers the deportation machine, which sanctuary cities live to defy, devoid of any hate for being less popular than Trump among real patriots left. This is an impersonation of my 8-year-old daughter shitting on Jimi Hendrix in comparison to Carlos Santana. I just got her greatest hits of Carlos Santana on vinyl. There's a lot better Carlos Santana out there, but it was all that's available. I've been looking for a record for a long time. I should just go on Amazon, but I got time to kill with a kid, and that's that. So this is my daughter again shitting on Jimi Hendrix in relation to Santana. Here we go. Santana's way better than Jimmy Dada, and Santana's voice doesn't sound like Jimmy's voice never rises above a stone yawn. Really, Dada. The Ellen Show. Dun, dun, dun. The Ellen Show is looking for a digital marketing manager. Notice that on LinkedIn. I don't know why they thought that I'd be interested, but if they ever read my blog, but not that it's an anti-lesbian blog. I just it's definitely not what I live it this way. I'm not expecting my personal humor blog dedicated to the art of laughter and working for free. I wouldn't say it's like dedicated to pleasing the Huffington Post view crowd. And I'm not saying there aren't smart, introspective, sexy, soulful people of every sexual orientation of mankind. I'm not saying they don't exist and read those sites, but overall, the collective shrieking despair that our country's been going through for 3 years, for the most part, is pretty prominent on those sites. So that's all I'm saying. And for the record, Ellen DeGeneres, awful Oscars host. Could not have been more edgeless if she tried. But, however, What's funny in the Larry Sanders Show back in the day, before she perfected the a billionaire daytime talk show host and I'm gonna look anorexic and wear sweaters that are too tight. Before all that, before she had Portia de Rossi on a leash, okay? Before all that, when she did stand up back in New Orleans, got her started in New Orleans, just so cool, and the old stand up comedy reel with the brick wall. She had like a hip joke on cocaine, and yeah, she used to be funnier. But again, I mean, you know, how funny can you be when you're a billionaire? So here we go. I'm gonna just look at Howard these days. Anyway, back to the Ellen Show advertiser on LinkedIn. The Ellen Show was looking for a digital marketing manager. What are the must-haves for this position besides being pro-Bush? Is someone who likes the David E. Kelly Facebook fan page a huge plus? Must be someone who identifies with Obama liquors left no matter what. This is the Do It All Dad Year podcast, dad-friendly entertainment for you and me. Controlling our kids with comedy can make our kids great again, and I'll talk to you guys soon.